You know how every 80s movie feels warm and nostalgic when you rewatch it? That soft VHS glow, the synth music, the over-the-top hero shots. It all kind of tricks your brain into thinking the decade was simpler, funnier, maybe even a little magical. Yeah, that's the VHS lying to you. Because behind all that neon charm were film sets held together by stress, duct tape, and sheer luck. Some productions were so dangerous, they'd be shut down instantly today. Others were packed with drama the studio spent years trying to cover up. And a few? Well, once you learn what actually happened behind the camera, it becomes impossible to watch the movie the same way again. So today, we're digging into 12 iconic 80s movies that hid some surprisingly dark behind-the-scenes secrets, the kind fans weren't supposed to hear about, and definitely not while rewinding the tape. And hey, if you love peeling back the curtain on the movies we grew up with, hit that like button and subscribe. We've got plenty more wild film stories coming. Number 12, Poltergeist, 1982. Everyone remembers that creepy pool scene in Poltergeist. The wild part is, it felt real because it actually was. The production used real human skeletons, not props, because they were cheaper at the time. JoBeth Williams wasn't told until after she filmed the scene, which honestly feels like something that belongs in a horror movie by itself. That decision spiraled into one of Hollywood's most talked about curses after 2 young cast members died in the years that followed. Whether you believe in curses or not, the vibe on set was apparently strange from the start. Crew members talked about odd accidents, weird cold spots, and a general feeling that something wasn't right. The studio avoided discussing any of it, but fans eventually pieced the story together. And once you know it, the movie stops feeling spooky and starts feeling unsettling for real. Years later, crew members admitted they were uncomfortable using real human skeletons, and JoBeth Williams said she avoided watching the movie for a long time because the memories still bothered her. Number 11, The Shining, 1980.
Why don't you start right now and get the out of here?
It's no secret that Stanley Kubrick pushed people, but what he did to Shelley Duvall during The Shining has only gotten more disturbing over time. He isolated her from the rest of the cast, keeping her working long hours, and pushed her through take after take, sometimes over 100 for a single scene. You can actually see her exhaustion in the movie because it wasn't acting. Duvall later said she was crying almost every day. Even Jack Nicholson admitted he felt bad watching what she went through. Kubrick defended it as getting a performance, but no modern production would ever allow those conditions. Decades later, Duvall said the experience left her exhausted and emotionally drained. And you can still hear the frustration in her interviews whenever The Shining is brought up. It's one of those behind-the-scenes stories that completely changes the way you watch the film. Wendy isn't terrified of Jack. She's terrified of the entire situation she's trapped in. Number 10, Back to the Future, 1985.
Well, nightmare. Dreamed I went back in time.
The movie that feels impossibly perfect today actually started as a disaster. Most people don't know this, but Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly. And not for a day or two, for 5 full weeks of shooting. By that point, the cast and crew realized he wasn't working. Stoltz played everything dramatically, ignoring the humor that made the story shine. It got so awkward that the actors started avoiding him. Behind the scenes, the studio quietly replaced him with Michael J. Fox, forcing the team to reshoot almost everything. Footage of Stoltz still exists, and every time a clip leaks, fans get a reminder of how close the movie came to being unrecognizable. Stoltz reportedly found out when he showed up and his access badge didn't work. Call it Hollywood or not, finding out like that would sting for anyone. Number 9, The Goonies, 1985.
Time, chunk.
Hey, Mike found the map! Whoa, you guys realize what we could do?
For a movie built on childhood wonder, The Goonies had a surprisingly rough energy behind the scenes. Director Richard Donner had a reputation for snapping at the kids whenever they got too energetic or forgot lines, which was often because they were literal children in the biggest movie of their lives. The cast has talked about how confusing the shoot was. Scenes filmed out of order, stunts done with minimal preparation, and Donner yelling instructions mid-take to get authentic reactions. Jeff Cohen said the truffle shuffle embarrassed him as a kid, and looking back, you can tell it wasn't exactly a fun moment for him. Fans love this movie for its charm, but the cast remembers the stress. It's one of those cases where the final product feels joyful, but the road to get there definitely wasn't. Number 8, The Never-Ending Story, 1984.
Is the secret of this enchanted book? What wonders are hidden within its pages?
The movie looks whimsical and harmless, but the experience wasn't. Noah Hathaway, who played Atreyu, dealt with multiple dangerous stunts that had almost no modern safety protocols. During the Swamp of Sadness sequence, the mechanical rig malfunctioned and pulled him underwater. Crew members had to jump in to save him. Later, he suffered a back injury that still affects him today. Hathaway has joked, only half-jokingly, that the set felt less like a fantasy epic and more like a place you survived. Meanwhile, the studio downplayed everything to keep the film family-friendly. It's wild how such a comforting childhood movie came from a shoot that would be shut down in a heartbeat now. Number 7. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1984.
Oh my God! Oh my God.
This movie feels chaotic on purpose, but the set wasn't pretending. Harrison Ford suffered a serious back injury during a stunt rehearsal and had to leave the production for treatment. Kate Capshaw, who did her own stunts more than most people realize, was nearly hurt multiple times, especially during the runaway minecart scene. Add in the controversy surrounding the film's portrayal of Indian culture, which got it banned in India, and you've got a production that was stressful in every direction. The backlash was so intense that Temple of Doom, along with Gremlins, pushed the creation of the PG-13 rating. Even Spielberg has admitted it wasn't the most joyful film to make. It shows. And somehow, that's only the halfway point. The stories below? Way messier. If you're still with me, you're definitely the kind of person who loves the messy side of movie history. So, tap the like button and subscribe. It lets us know to keep digging up stories like these. And trust me, there are plenty more buried out there. Number 6. The Terminator, 1984.
In the 21st century, a weapon will be invented like no other.
James Cameron was young, ambitious, and had absolutely no intention of waiting for permits. A lot of the Terminator was shot guerrilla style. Tiny crew, hidden cameras, and let's shoot this before the cops show up energy. Some of the stunts bordered on reckless. Arnold punching through a car window? Real glass. Scenes shot in traffic? Also real. The crew worked insane hours because they were constantly racing the authorities. Cameron later joked that the whole shoot felt like they were fighting to stay alive, which honestly fits the plot a little too well. If this movie were made today, half the behind-the-scenes footage would be used in safety training videos titled What Not to Do. Number 5. Full Metal Jacket, 1987.
That is not your daddy's shotgun, cowboy. Private Joker is silly and he's ignorant, but he's got guts, and guts is enough.
People always talk about how intense R. Lee Ermey was in Full Metal Jacket. What most folks don't realize is that he wasn't acting. He really was a Marine drill instructor. Kubrick encouraged him to scream, insult, and pressure the cast exactly like real Marine recruits. The cast describes the boot camp scenes as emotionally draining, mostly because they weren't performing. They were reacting to genuine intimidation. Ermey lost his voice so often that production had to build breaks around him. Meanwhile, Vincent D'Onofrio gained so much weight for the role that he injured his knees. Kubrick's perfectionism made everything harder. Long resets, endless takes, and a demand for absolute realism. The result is incredible, but the cost? Everyone walked away different. Number 4. The Abyss, 1989.
God, I hate that bitch.
Probably shouldn't have married her then, huh?
Hang on, gentlemen.
This might be one of the most infamous productions ever. Almost every major scene took place underwater, meaning the cast spent up to 12 hours a day submerged with limited visibility. Imagine trying to deliver emotional scenes while shivering in a tank, barely able to see the person you're acting with. Ed Harris nearly drowned when his oxygen line malfunctioned. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio once walked off set after Cameron demanded another take while she was hyperventilating. A lot of actors said it was the hardest job of their lives. Harris refused to discuss the movie for years. Mastrantonio said it was the only time she genuinely felt unsafe on a job. Harris later admitted he almost broke down speaking about the shoot, and several crew members said they would never work on another underwater film again after that experience. The studio barely acknowledged the chaos. Fans eventually learned the truth through cast interviews, long after the movie was released. Alright, top 3. And these aren't just dark stories. These are the ones Hollywood still hates talking about. Number 3. RoboCop, 1987.
Detroit has a cancer. The cancer is crime.
Peter Weller's RoboCop suit looked great on screen, but it was a nightmare to wear. It took nearly 11 hours to put on the first time, and once he was inside, he could barely move or breathe. The temperature inside the suit was so extreme that Weller kept losing weight during the shoot. He also had to relearn how to walk once the suit arrived, which meant every scene took longer and cost more. There were days he was so overheated that production stopped just to pull him out so he wouldn't pass out. By the end, Weller said he felt like he'd been hit by a truck for months. And honestly, watching the behind-the-scenes footage, that sounds accurate. Number 2. The Crow, 1989 to 1993.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul.
Even though The Crow released in 1994, production began at the end of the 80s, and the energy behind the scenes fit the decade's worst habits. Safety shortcuts, exhausted crew members, and rushed setups created a dangerous environment. Brandon Lee's death came from a completely avoidable mistake involving a dummy round left in a gun barrel. Multiple crew injuries happened even before the tragedy: electrocutions, set fires, and mishandled stunts. It was a production running on fumes with no margin for error. It's one of the darkest chapters in film history and still discussed today when Hollywood talks about safety reform. Number 1. Twilight Zone, the movie, 1983.
This thing's brand new. How about the radio? Radio doesn't work. There's no entertainment. Now there's no entertainment. Damn it!
This is the story that Hollywood still whispers about. During a late-night shoot involving explosions, a helicopter, and 2 child actors hired illegally, a stunt went wrong. The helicopter crashed, killing Vic Morrow and the children instantly. The investigations were brutal. Violations everywhere. Safety ignored, warnings brushed aside. Directors and producers faced criminal charges. This single accident reshaped film safety rules forever. It's wild to think how different the story looks once you know it. Way darker than the movie's old VHS cover ever hinted. It's hard to watch the movie now without thinking about the real cost behind one of Hollywood's most preventable tragedies. The 80s will always feel special. That mix of practical effects, big ideas, and filmmakers who took risks nobody would touch today. But once you peek behind the curtain, you start to realize just how much chaos went into the movies we still love. Some of these productions were dangerous, some were emotionally rough, and some changed Hollywood forever. If you want more videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your suggestions below. Whether it's the 70s, the early blockbuster era, or even the strange behind-the-scenes stories of animated movies, we're down to explore it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.